Hello, hello. New day, new live stream. Actually, new year, new live stream. How's everyone doing today? Everyone doing good? Let me get my chat window pulled up. I have not pulled that up yet. Oh, greetings, greetings. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? Doing good. Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hope your New Year is off to a good start. Looks like I forgot to turn my lights on behind me here, so it's just a little drab behind me without having the blue lights on. Running a little bit behind schedule. Daryl with the $2 donation. Thank you so much, Daryl. I can always count on you. Yeah, I've been fighting a cold for the last week or so, so I'm a little bit behind schedule this morning, and I do have a cough, so I have some cough drops here, and I have some. I'm on some Advil and some Claritin and whatever I can. So just drinking some hot coffee, and hopefully that will keep me from coughing. Just been fighting it though, but talking for 4 hours is going to be kind of hard. But hope everyone had a good holiday and got some good treats and good fun stuff. So let's see. Montgomery, reply to the message second time, please. Check your email. Okay, I will. Yeah, your email came in kind of late at the end of the day, or I saw it late and wasn't able to reply. Mach 1, thanks for the $2 donation. Super chatted that in. Thank you so much. So let's see. Put some bourbon in the coffee with some honey. Well, I'm doing dry January, so no alcohol, no bourbon this month. I'm also doing a sugar fast too. I'm not going to do any sugar this month. I mean, I'm doing honey, so if that counts as sugar, I don't know. But I'm not, no candy is what I'm saying. So hello from Australia and South Africa. Hello, hello. Dark chocolate helps as well. I like that, but that is sugar. So, oh my, oh my. So I try to do the best I can today. You got yourself a NAS. You find a backup drive, but you can't find my backup drive. So you can't find it on the network? Is that what you're saying? You're stronger than me. You have bourbon tonight. I love my bourbon. Yeah, I didn't even get to drink, I think, the last day of the year either, because I was so sick. I had a little bit of champagne right at midnight, but that was it. Yeah. Just curious, what NAS did he get? Yeah, go ahead and tell us what NAS you got. Hello from Pakistan. Yeah, so I added a couple laptops in for, I don't have the vote up there. So there's the vote right now. Are you unemployed? That's still there from earlier. So I'll need to get the polls created here in a second on Twitch. So let me go ahead and do that. I don't know if Premise is here today. Oh, there's Premise, he's there. He's gonna add the poll in a second. And once we get the poll going on Twitch, so we can start the votes. But I added them a little bit late, so no big heads up. That's not a big deal. But we're going to be voting on 3 different machines. An XPS 9710. I just kind of grabbed a random pile of laptops real quick. I didn't even look at them real. I just read the first line. It says no power, so 9710 no power. Inspiron 7640 not charging. And then the Alienware, this is actually a Firefighter's laptop. He said that he had to go to a service call. He shut his laptop, and when he came back, it was completely dead. So the Alienware at the end, the Alienware M17R5 is actually a Firefighter's laptop, so first responder. I think that would be kind of interesting one to take a look at. Now, we've worked on a lot of those because that's the same as the M15R7. I've actually had quite a few of those boards I've worked on recently, so it's the Ryzen edition, but hopefully it's all right. Oh, you got a Synology NAS. Those are nice. Yeah, they're working on the laptop vote. Okay, the vote is up on Twitch, which I need to pull my Twitch chat up. I don't have it popped out here. Pop it out. There we go. I have 2 different screens going with multiple chats and all this stuff I'm trying to keep track of. All right, so now we can put the polls up. There we go. All right, so we have the polls going. I'll try not to put that in my head. Actually, I want to turn these blue lights on if you don't mind. Oh, I keep forgetting I don't have my microphone charged up, so I just plugged it in, and hopefully the audio is still good. There we go. All right. Hopefully I didn't lose audio just now. We still there? Okay. Let me plug my charger back into my microphone. I keep walking away while it's plugged in. Okay. All right. So, oh, and we still have the title. We have to vote. Darn it, man! I'm really off my game today. First day of the year, or first stream of the year, so everything's a little bit off. So if this is your first stream, it's usually a little more well oiled than this. But paste that in there. All right. All right. So hello from India. Let's see. You love your bourbon. You wish you. I wish I worked on Asus. I work on enough laptops. It's kind of hard to keep up with it. I know. At some point, I'll work on some other manufacturer just for some fun thing, but I would never offer as a service. No overheating issue. Are we talking about one of the machines there? I don't know. The camera's a little bit to the left. Yeah, I keep sitting like this. I don't know. Maybe I'll just move over a little bit. I haven't moved anything, so everything's the same. I think it's just the way that I'm sitting right now. Audio is fine, good. I didn't mess up my audio. Can you hear me now? Lack of bourbon's gonna make me a little bit crazy. Just solder the mic back on. Let me grab my coffee though. All right, so you guys go ahead and vote. I'll go over these laptops again. So the first one's an XPS 9710, no power. That's what the customer's note just says. The next one is the Inspiron. I usually don't work on Inspirons because they're cheaper, but this board is actually, I think, $300 board, something like that. A little bit more than 300 for the. It's just a more expensive board, so it's not charging, which I don't know. Sometimes when people say it's not charging, they could mean lots of different things. And then the last one is a Firefighter's laptop that he shut the lid. It was working. He shut the lid and he went to a call, and it's dead. So vote. You worked on a Lenovo. Oh, I got a new coffee cup, and this thing is hot. It stays hot. I like it because my other one, it was always cold within, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. Yeah, I want to see the Firefighter's laptop. That's what I voted for. We'll probably get to all of them anyway. You have two Asus ROG laptops in right now, and both of them have liquid metal from the factory. Well, you know what you got to do next. Time to get that PTM on there. So I did another PTM. I don't know how many people saw that video I put out last Tuesday, I guess. And it was where I took the liquid metal off, cleaned the heat sinks and all that stuff, and put PTM on it, and saw an 18-degree drop in the temperature, the idle temperature. And this was after diagnostics, but an idle temperature. I had another machine in Friday that was sitting there pegged at 99, the same thing, 99 degrees C. I took it apart, I blew out the fans, cleaned the heat sink, but did not re-thermal paste it, put it back together. The temperatures still were pegged at 99. Then I took it apart, pulled the heat sink off, and the liquid metal was on there, and so I kind of recollected all the liquid metal back to the middle, and then put it back on there, and then dropped down to 95C. And then I took it back off, cleaned off all the liquid metal, cleaned off all the thermal paste, put PTM on there, and dropped down to 80C. Pretty conclusive to me. I don't know. People are in the comments are going crazy about like whether I know what the hell I'm talking about or not. So I don't know. Let the haters hate. Let's see if we can fix all three laptops today. Haha. Let's see if we can do it. But we will. Looks like we're starting with the Alienware Alienware. Oh, I just realized we have three different manufacturers, or three different models in there: XPS, Inspiron, and Alienware. You're looking to repaste your laptop. Yeah, and I have some of the PTM on our website, and it's the Thermal Grizzly version because they sent me a bunch of, I have an agreement with them now. They're sending me stuff. So that stuff I've actually put on some laptops, and it's working super good. Super good. I'm not sure if it's up there with Honeywell yet. I haven't done like the full test, but it's good. You have 4 sheets of PTM 7950. You're going to do it. By the way, what Dell laptop do you recommend for a student? Okay, so a student, that's interesting. So student, you're on a budget, that's what that means. And usually you don't want to spend too much money, but you also don't want it to have to fix your laptop. But if it's just to get you through school, you can get a cheap laptop and just think about it as like you have to replace it within a certain amount of time. Or you can get an old business machine, or you can buy a brand new laptop. And if you get a brand new laptop, you want to get one that's actually built where you can just kind of throw it in your bag over and over again. XPSs are going to be good for that, but Latitudes or business machines, those are going to be built the best for that type of thing. They're not going to be the most stylish. But so if you can get like a couple-year-old Latitude, or if you get a Latitude that's newer, that's $1,200 or something like that, it's probably the best laptop overall. But if you're on a budget, then you're going to have to go down to like a lower tier. So you want like a higher-end Inspiron if you're going to get one. But I just don't like Inspirons at all. So I would stick with XPS or Latitude if you're going to get one. But they don't really have that brand anymore. So Dell Pro, if you get a Dell Pro at least, or a Dell Premium, I think is what they would call it. I can't remember all the new words they call it. So let's see. All these chats are moving pretty fast now because I got behind because I start gabbing on about stuff. Love watching your content. Very relaxing. Yes, my Jeff Goldblum talk, right? Where I'm always like umming and singing and doing all sorts of stuff. Oh my gosh. It's not, just don't get a Chromebook. And you could even get one of those $200 or $400 Inspirons if you want, but just remember you're replacing it every 2 years. So it may make it to only 2 years of your school, but it's cheap. So then you can just get another one after 2 years. That's another way of thinking about it. That was an amazing video. Thanks for releasing it. Manufacturers should pay more attention to disposals of liquid metal. Yeah. Well, in that, I don't know if you're talking about the one from yesterday, because that was the repair tech that destroyed the laptop. There's one on Tuesday. That was the one where I was cleaning the fans and all that stuff. The one that was yesterday where the repair tech broke it, apparently it was a mobile repair tech. He came to the guy's house and he was like, oh, it's a good deal. I don't feel confident enough to change out the polymer, so I'm going to send the guy over. The laptop worked, right? So the keys were just faded. Just change out the polymer rest. I bought a new polymer rest on eBay and install it. So the mobile tech came, destroyed the laptop. And when he had it apart, they were trying to put PTM on, but they couldn't figure out how to put it on. Neither one of them. So the tech or the customer. So they couldn't figure it out. So then they, I guess, added more thermal paste to whatever it was, and then it was overflowing everywhere, and then that's whenever the liquid metal was leaking out. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. You're getting an Aurora 16 for your birthday. Nice. Those are the newer Alienwares. I have a video coming out for that where the guy destroyed it after 2 months. It might be the Aurora 18 though. Repasted Precision with thermal Grizzlies PTM yesterday. And how does it compare to the 7950 fully in a few days of break-in? You'll just let me know how it compares. I haven't done full tests. I have installed Thermal Grizzly on some of the machines. I haven't seen any issue, but I know that there is a break-in period for it. So let me know. Love the repair shop show. Great situations of everyday laptop repair. You have a 7720. Does not want to work with DDR4 3200, just works with 2400. Even the diagnostics show tons of errors on the 3200. Have you tried multiple sticks of 3200? Because it should work with 3200. And maybe it's just picky, like you're buying Crucial 3200 and you're not using like the Dell or the same type of spec memory that Dell uses, because sometimes Dell laptops are picky. Which naming scheme do you prefer? The Latitude, Precision, Pro, or Premium? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't prefer any of those naming schemes. Let me show you. This is what I had to write up, and I've shown this before, but I've shown this before. So my employees, just so I can kind of explain to them the new naming scheme, this is what I had to make. I had to make this crap. And it's still confusing. And there's still more models that we're missing. But basically, if we had a Dell Pro Max 16 Plus, and then that's like the model number, then you can break down that model number into MB, stands for M, so M for Max, so it's a Pro Max. And then B is the second one. You come over here to MB, then we got a Dell Pro Max Plus, so it's the Plus brand of that one. The 16 is the size of the screen, and if it had a 06, then it would be a 2-in-1. And then if it was this is the year, and this is the CPU. If it's 0, it's Intel. If it's 5, it's AMD. If it's a 1, I think it's an ARM. This is kind of cool, but then all these stupid adjectives are stupid. I hate them. Why would you name a computer Dell Pro Max Premium? Why would you name a MacBook? Why do they do phones like that? I don't like it. I just don't like it. So that's my opinion of that. refurbished sister, wait, your refurbished laptop my sister just purchased is so much better than the brand new one she got. Oh, really? Nice. Montgomery bought a laptop from me for his sister, so thanks. Liquid metal stuff. Let's see. Oh, the vote ended. I just realized. Sorry. So the M1705 won. Second place is going to be XPS No Power, and then nobody wanted. This is on Twitch. Nobody wanted to see the Inspiron fixed. That's so funny. So the XPS was number 2, also on YouTube. So we'll do the Alienware first. We'll do the XPS next, and then we will finish with. I don't know. I have more laptops. If you don't want the Inspiron, we won't do the Inspiron. So we're going to start out with the Firefighter's laptop, the first responder, and let's see if we can get this fixed up for him. Those labels are confusing. Yes, they are. Super confusing. Let me pull that laptop here. I got a stack. I stacked up 4 laptops next to me because I didn't know which ones we were going to work on. So, and I keep all my laptops in these bins. So, I don't know how different repair shops do it. I've been doing it like this for years. So, each one of these laptops, maybe I'll hold it like this. Let's see. Each one of these laptops get a bin like this, and then there's a label that prints out that goes on the front. I don't want to show it to you because it has all the personal information on it, but it prints out on the front of the bin. And then when we take parts out, every single part that comes out of the laptop goes into that bin. It always stays with its counterparts. And then whenever we check it in, it prints out that label for the bin, but it also prints out a label, or prints out this sheet that has all the customer's information and their note. And this is something I wrote. It's just I'm not using a program that somebody else wrote. So I don't have my voltmeter up, I just realized. Connect. All right, so there's the note from the customer. And worked perfectly, and then now it doesn't, right? Doesn't turn back on. So these types of machines they have the Ryzen chips in there. They run really hot. I've seen so much issues with these. These don't have liquid metal, so we don't have to think about that as being an issue. But they have other issues. So that's the way it's going to be. Oh yeah, and I did get the new NF Flux White. So we can try that out. But I also got the new Black Horse 559. Wait, where is it? It gave me the newest one. What do you do with it? Well, it was just here. I don't know, but it's around here somewhere. So I have multiple fluxes we can try. We got the title set. Okay, so this one is no signs of life. So if we turn it on, okay, if we turn it on, we should get no power at all. And I don't hear the fans. I don't hear anything like that. Classic note, classic note. Okay, so we're gonna plug in the power. He didn't say it shorted the AC adapter. He didn't say that it had some sort of surge. So that's, so I'm not concerned about plugging this in at this moment. Now this machine does have a tendency of having a MOSFET that blows out on the CPU. So maybe we should test to see if there's a short on the main power rail before we plug it in, because I would hate to mess up his CPU. So let me just pull the bottom off real quick. We're just going to measure the main power rail before we plug in the charger, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. Yeah, no liquid metal in this one. Now the machine I posted yesterday was the M17R, M15R, excuse me. This is an M17R5. The other one's an M15R7. So it's a 15-inch laptop. This is a 17-inch laptop. They have the same motherboard, except the one yesterday was an Intel processor. This one's an AMD. So that's kind of funny how they do that. Okay, I'm just going to test the main power rail, make sure that we don't have a short. And let's just test these. So we have a couple current sense resistors right here, shunts, whatever you want to call them. But they are measuring the amount of current that's going into the board at any particular time. We have a 4 ohm short here. So most likely if we would have plugged it in, we would have had a short on the power, or would have shorted out the AC adapter, most likely. it could have been where the first MOSFETs would have turned it off and didn't allow it to pass through. But I want to be safe with this because we don't want to cause more damage, and because I know that this machine has a tendency of having shorts in general. So we do have a short. It's going to be on both of these are current sense resistors. I think one goes to the GPU and one goes to the CPU, or they both go to the same area. I don't know. But we do have a 4 ohm short, which is a bad short. 4 ohms is high. The type of short that we want on a board like this is going to be something that's closer to 0. So we're going to have like 0.1 or 0.05 or something like that, depending upon how your probes are, how good, well calibrated they are. 4 ohms is going to be high enough where it could either be on a lower power rail, so it's a separate power rail. So it's like your main power rail is tied to another power rail, and that's shorting over to that. Or you're going to have a shorted MOSFET on the CPU. So one of the power stages is shorting through the CPU, and the CPU is measuring at 4 ohms, if that makes sense. So I'm wondering if, let me see the guy's name, the firefighter's name, because he may actually be in the chat here. Joseph, are you in the chat? Joseph, if you are here, let yourself be known. I'm going to pull the back off of this, and that way we can start measuring around a little bit. We want to figure out where the short is on here, but most likely it's going to be on the CPU. Did these screws? No, those matched. I'm trying to figure out if this got opened up already or not. Your power meter gate is tilted too far up. Oh, was that earlier? I gotta fix that. All right, so let's see. Oh yeah, I forget that this one's hard to get off. Okay, come on, baby. Come on, baby. You can get off of here. What state is Joseph from? West Coast, he might be sleeping, you're right. Let's see where he's at. Missouri. Missouri. He's in Missouri. Joseph from Missouri. Come on, buddy. He's probably on a shift. Oh, he's awake. He's been awake for 24 hours. $18 donation. Thank you so much. Dennis. Thank you so much, Dennis. Come on. Why don't you want to come off? I think MASH. Come on. Bruh. I don't know why this side does not want to come off, and I hate breaking these. I don't want to break them. I mean, I have more of the parts if I end up breaking it, but there we go. It just has snaps, that's all. And the back is off. I cut all that stuff in the videos usually. Because we have a short here, we could go and inject voltage immediately if we want and just get on the thermal camera, but it might be under the heatsink. I'm going to unplug the screen, I'm going to unplug the RAM, and I'm going to unplug the wireless card, and then we're going to check for the short again. Who remembers chips? Poncherelli, is that what you're talking about? The old highway, what was it? Highway Patrol. Which Highway Patrol was it? Highway Patrol. Somebody's got to remember. I know it was in California. California Highway Patrol. That's what the C was. Yeah. I was like, what's the C stand for? I was trying to name a city in California, but it's California Highway Patrol. From the old Poncherelli. All right, so we have both NVMEs or SSDs populated here. And what I like to do, this is just my practice that I do, is I like to put them back in the same spot. And you could put notes on them or whatever, but the way I do it is, this is SSD 2, this is SSD 1. I'll just flip it over like this. And I take a black marker and I put 2 dots on this one and 1 dot on this one. There you go. Very inconspicuous. And now they're numbered. All right, with the RAM out, let's measure the main power rail now. We got a new member. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome aboard. All right, we still have a 3.8 ohm short. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be somewhere around the ohms, a resistance you're going to measure on a CPU itself. So I'm going to keep going. We're just going to pull the whole board out. And if you're kind of new to understanding what I'm doing, is if you think about it, you have the power supply, or you have the main 20 volts that comes to the machine. That's going to be broken into a lot of different power rails. So you have the 5 volt, 3.3, 1.8, 1.1, 1.2. If you have DDR4, you're going to have a 1.05. You're going to have the chipset voltage. You're going to have lots of different voltages, right? Now the CPU and the GPU take that 20 volts directly and then convert that down to whatever it needs at any particular time, and they're going to have these MOSFETs or power stages that are pulsing and reducing that and creating variable voltage for the CPU at least. And one of those power stages are probably shorted and shorts right through the CPU. So whenever I'm measuring the main power rail and I'm getting 4 ohms, which it should be like mega ohms or something like that, if I'm getting 4 ohms, I may actually be just measuring straight through the CPU itself and giving me that reading of 4 ohms. And that's why I don't want to just inject voltage, because I know people are just going to be like, just inject the voltage, man. Let's see what gets hot under the thermal camera, bruh. And I don't want to do that yet. I want to do it where I can actually see the CPU. I mean, I can keep it low, and it's, you know, it's just not going to light up because it's under the heatsink anyway. But this is the best way of doing it. Maybe it takes longer, but it's the right way too. You could do it. We could just come with the power supply though. We could do that. We could soar in that. What we're gonna do is come with the power supply. Secret screw, where art thou? The Inspiron would be easy to fix though, because the physical inspection is probably changing new jack ports, some things like that. I don't know that Inspiron that's in there. I don't know I can't remember what the issue is. This says not charging. So yeah, not charging is probably not the DC jack, because it did go through my other tech first. So it always goes to my repair department first with all my other techs, and then they will look at it and deem it as a motherboard repair. So that means they would have changed the DC jack out, things like that. It's only whenever we know that it's a lost cause, or the motherboard would need to be replaced, is when it comes to me. That way I'm not sitting here doing a bunch of needless stuff. Okay, we're getting closer. I'm just slowly taking out these screws. We need music. The Chips theme song, go, stat! That's right, I actually do want some music. I don't know. I think it does take the edge off a little bit by having music going here, so I'm going to put the music back on again. Wherever it is. All right. Okay, and the motherboard is out. We did it. We did it, you guys. Now, like I said, this is the same motherboard that goes into the 15-inch version of this machine. It just has a bigger heatsink, but the motherboard is exactly the same thing. I mean, I think that's the best way of doing things. If they're going to be making something, is this thing bowed again? Remember how we pulled one out the other day? It was all bowed up. It does look a little warped. Did someone punch the keyboard on this one? Has this keyboard been punched? Yeah. Yeah. This has been punched also. People love to punch a computer. Right here, you can see, right, so the touchpad's all bumped in right here, but this is kind of bowed in right there. It's not super bad. It's not as bad. I don't know if you were on the stream the other day, but we had one that the entire area was completely bent in because someone punched it. They were so mad at this thing. But yeah, I could definitely tell that it's bowed in right here, and the touchpad's kind of punched in there. So, Mama say knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. That's an LL Cool J line, by the way, guys. If you ain't there with me, me and Premise are on board on that one. The old LL. Okay. All right, so the motherboard is out. Oh my gosh, it's just when it's bent like this, it's crazy. It just feels weird. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Okay. Take the heatsink off. We're gonna re-thermal paste this thing anyway. This Firefighter needs some PTM anyway, right? We're gonna do a solid to this Firefighter. Nah. Feels bad, man. There's so many Soren quotes, I can tell you. So many. Okay. Get this heatsink off of here. Let's see how bad the crust is under this. I don't know. Why is it stuck? Why are you stuck? It's all factory. It's all factory. He's going to need some new thermal pads too. Yeah, this is super dried up. And it's funny, this doesn't, I would say it's factory, but because it's kind of overflowing everywhere, it doesn't look factory. And the way that this is kind of liquidy, because normally they do it as kind of a little patch almost is what it looks like. This looks factory, but this one just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe they're both factory. These thermal pads totally tore apart, so we'll have to replace all of those. But let's see if we have a short. Let's see where the short is. I'm gonna get under the thermal, or not thermal, we're gonna go under the microscope first. So here's our power stages for our CPU. This is what I'm suspecting we have a short here. Remember, we haven't injected any voltage yet. I'm just using our kind of rules of deduction by using the clues from our measurement, right? So 4 ohm short. So now I'm gonna come over to the CPU coil and measure what coil, well, what resistance we have here. And we have 3.58, okay? So that's 3.58 is actually going into the CPU into the ground. Now if we measure going before that, let's see. This is the main power rail going into this one of these MOSFETs and then going through there, we're getting 3.6. So the difference between here and here is 0, which means that one of these is shorted. And we didn't do voltage injection. We didn't use a thermal camera. Now, I'm probably going to have to use a thermal camera to figure out which one it is. Should we try to fix this without a thermal camera? I'm just trying to figure out, like, I hate doing stuff without people having the equipment, right? And so it's like, let's think outside the box. What can we do to make it where somebody can do this at home? What can we do? So we can use the alcohol trick, we can use the finger trick, but in order to, because 4 ohms is really high, or 3.5 ohms, if I injected voltage right here on the main power rail, or right here on the main power rail, right, and then you tried to inject it, it would have to go through the CPU would get hot, and you would have to keep cranking the voltage up higher and higher to get enough current, to get enough heat, okay? So you can't do that, right? The only other way to do that is you have to bypass the CPU. So we're gonna have to take this and attach this to ground, or attach this to our output, right? So if we ground that out, then we'd be fine. Or if we put the negative of our power supply to the output, that will bypass the CPU, right? And I've done this plenty of times in videos to kind of show you. So let me just show you again, because just doing things over and over again make it easier to understand, I feel like, at least. All right, so voltage injection tool. This is just a device that injects a low voltage but a higher current. So if I start with 1 volt, okay, which is the max you'd want to do with it going through a CPU in general. I usually don't even like going that high. 0.8 is really what I like to do. So 0.8, and if I inject it right here, I can barely hear anything. I can hear a little noise, but you don't see an amp being pulled or anything like that, right? Now, if we look under a thermal camera, thermal camera's not working. Let's see if I can get the thermal camera working. Got to get the thermal camera working. I've got to restart the darn program. Sorry, bear with me. Bear with me. So what I'm doing is I have to cast my phone to the computer in order to see it. I know you can plug it straight into the computer, but I like having the screen off to the side here. This also gives you a higher resolution. All right, let's see if that's going to work now. Okay. All right, it's working now. All right, so if I inject this voltage right here on this coil, or not on the coil, on the input, we could probably see the CPU starting to get warm, maybe. Can't even tell. Can't even tell at 0.8 volts. You see that? So you can't even tell the CPU is getting hot. So right now, like, say you're at home and you're just going, oh man, well, I don't know what's wrong. I'm just going to keep cranking up the voltage, because I've seen plenty of people do this. They keep cranking it up. So I'm going to go up to, we'll go up to 1 volt, because that's the max I want to do anyway. Yep, I can see the CPU getting hot now. So you see right there, it's getting a little bit hot. But there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that you're going to see one of these get hot. Maybe you will. We'll see. I can't see which one of those are getting hot. But if we just do the bypass method, like I was saying, I'm going to go all the way down to like 0.4 volts, 0.3. We don't need anything. We don't need very much voltage at all. And I'm going to take this off of the, take the ground off there and just attach it to the back side. So instead of putting the ground on the ground, I'm going to hold the ground to the output of these coils here. I'm going to put it over here. It's hard to hold it here, but now when we do it, look how many amps we're pulling. 4 amps, and we can tell exactly which one's getting hot. I'm just going to kind of move around so you can see. You can see which one it is. It's right there. So let me go to a view. Let's see, do we have a multi-view somewhere? IR camera on. There we go. So right now we're looking at this one. So if I inject right there, we can see it get hot right there on this. So this is the one. And that's the safe way of doing it, kids. That's the safe way. So this is the one we're going to be replacing. First, we're just going to take it off of there, and that will resolve the short. And hopefully, because we were responsible, everything will work. Let me check the chat here, because I haven't looked to see. Calibrated wire, alcohol works. Alcohol only works if you have enough current, so that probably would work with this method if we would have covered these in alcohol and then put like 1 volt through there, then it would have had like 8 amps going through it. But we'd have to use the bypass method. So you have to bypass the CPU no matter what you do, okay? Now I've tried doing the method where I just take a ground wire and solder a wire here that I tie back to ground, and then just grounding my negative probe or the negative part of the power supply on there. That doesn't work as well, because then it has to send the voltage back through here, and then there's multiple paths to ground. So I've found just hooking to the back side of that coil, it doesn't matter which coil because these are all attached together. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And so all of these MOSFETs are working together. And so that's the one that's shorted out. And so it's just going straight through there right now. It's like magic. It's like magic. So let me pull this one off. And hopefully we can get it fixed up. Now, unfortunately, on this machine, I've had this issue where I've replaced this and the CPU's fried. But we don't know if the main power rail is turning off the AC adapter or not. And because we didn't plug in the power supply. If we plug in the power supply and it shut off the AC adapter or the charger, it could be that it's because it detected that current while it went through here and then it would burn that out. But we didn't even try. So it could be good. So I'm going to pull this off. Ooh, and I got a new hot end. In the video I posted yesterday, my hot air station, the tip went out. I actually have another one that didn't work as well. Like if I put it to 480 degrees C, I was getting like 280 out. But my other one, right as I turned it on, the thermocouple was all messed up. So this is my maiden voyage. I haven't even actually tried this tip. It's probably going to smell, I bet. Let's see. Hopefully it works because I didn't even test it. Maiden voyage. Oh, what flux should I use? Should you want me to use the old NF white, the new white stuff? So I've already tried this a couple times. It's very liquidy, which it's not a huge complaint because I prefer it being a little bit more liquidy, but and it doesn't smell like lotion. It doesn't smell good though. It doesn't smell like pine needles, which I prefer. But I'm going to try the white. I'm just going to show you. So what I like to do again is I like to heat up the board first. So right now I'm at 450 at 60 degrees. Oh, wait, 450 degrees C at 60% air. There you go. Preheat this area. Yeah, we got a fingers crossed. Go ahead and do a vote. We're going to replace this CPU. I mean, we're going to replace this MOSFET. And so let's do a vote to see who thinks the CPU survived or not. So now that I got this preheated, I'm going to put the NF white on here. And see how it just disappeared? So it's a lot different. See how it just disappeared? It's gone. And that's all you get. That's all you get. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. Where did it go? It's gone. Oh, it smells weird. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, I'm switching. Okay, here's my 213. This is what's supposed to emulate the Amtech 213. So here's the Amtech 213. And it's similar, but this one's sticking around the chip a little bit better. And it smells better, but I don't know. The chip's already hot. So we got that out of there. Let me just check to see if the short's gone. The short would be gone, man. So if you measure here, short is gone. The short is gone. So, short's gone. Let me just grab a new one. These are, what was this? 8986, blah, blah, blah. Anyone catch the chip number on that? Scratch that up so much. 8694, is that right? I think it's an 8694. $8694. Can't see. Yeah, it's an 8694. Okay, so I have some of those. MOSFET driver packages. Here we go. The CPU survived. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do a vote on that. And I should have some 8694s in here. There we go. Although I might need to order more. Oh, I still have 10 or so. Dump that right there. Okay. All right, so with a new chip, we have to pre-tin it. So we just flip it over and put some flux on there. And put some soda on there. All right, the vote is up, so go ahead and vote yes if you think the CPU survived. Vote no if you do not think the CPU survived. Because it's a 50-50 chance. It's a 50-50 chance. The high side was shorted, not the low side. The high side's going through the CPU. If the low side was shorted, it would have been shorting straight to 0. And all we're trying to do is just get a little bit of flux and solder on here. So it makes it a little bit easier to connect it to the board. All right. Now I have no idea which way this goes. That way. Yeah, so we have about 20 votes so far on Twitch. Twitch, you got almost 70 people. Just the votes at the top there. Everyone participate. Makes it a little more entertaining. So I'm going to tack that on there. We're going to add a little bit more of this NF.white flux stuff. It sure does smell weird. It smells like... That smells dusty. Dusty. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of what it smells like. Or spory, kind of like a flower or something. Like pollen. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, while the board's a little bit hot, I'm going to clean this up. And I need some alcohol to come out of my thingy. It's not coming out. 7 out of 10 believe the CPU is good, huh? I literally will give this a 50-50. I've seen it half the time be like, yeah, it's great. And then half the time be like, I knew it wasn't going to work. So. But I do hope it's going to work. Perfect. Like nothing ever happened. Okay. Good. Come on. Okay, let's clean up my mess here. It's crazy how dirty my desk gets really quickly from just like grabbing stuff. Okay, so we're going to screw that on. Okay, so I'm just going to put the heatsink back on the way it is. Maybe I'll put just a dab of heatsink. Well, let's see. See, the last thing I hate to do is just like redo all the thermal paste and all this stuff when we just had a CPU error anyway. So in general, what I want to do is just test it. So we're just going to put a dab of thermal compound on there. But let me scrape off some of this stuff here. So this is a plastic scribe spudger. That's what you want to use on these chips. So we're going to take this dried stuff and just kind of scrape away at that. I'm not cleaning it thoroughly. I'm just trying to get it where I can have it make contact pretty well. Okay. Bring up the chat. Oh, do y'all want to see what the vote is, by the way? Y'all can see the vote. So the vote ended. We had 80% or 79% to 68%. So, I mean, leaning, yeah, 2/3 basically is leaning towards the, or I guess 3/4 is leaning towards it working. I don't know about that, but you guys are optimistic for the new year. All right. Okay, and so what I'll do at the end of this, if everything works, then we'll end up putting it back together with PTM 7950. We'll do all the full clean out and all that stuff. And I don't generally do that on streams like this. We usually do the hard parts, and then I do all the easy parts later, but we can also kind of discuss how we want to handle that. Because some people might find it more interesting. I don't know. Okay. What is going on here? I think it must be because this thing's warped. The Firefighter's CPU will resist a little heat. That's right. That's a good point. Okay, I'm just going to put a few screws in here. We're not going to worry about like putting all of them in there. We'll see if we can save another laptop. $628 people on YouTube and only 50 likes. Come on, people. Come on, people. Just hit the like button right now while I'm putting this back together. It just takes a couple seconds, and this takes me a little bit longer than that. I'm going to try to straighten this out a little bit. See if we can get 600 likes on that right now, instantaneously. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to quickly install this. Now, if this is going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, we're probably going to get a 2-1 error, so it's going to try to power on, and it's going to kind of shut back off, and then it will probably give us a blink code that's a 2-1, 2 red, 1 blue. Now, if that's the case, that means the CPU actually took the 20 volts straight through it, and the CPU would need to be replaced. Now, the interesting thing I have in my, interesting thing that's happening is soon I do have a stencil coming in, and I will try changing out one of these Ryzen chips because they are kind of tiny. And the problem is getting a new one of these. Every time I'm looking for an actual CPU that's supposed to work, they're like $200. So it's not worth it. I think that's the biggest battle, is finding a working CPU. If you could just order them, it would be nice. Because all these boards, I have stacks of these boards, and they all have bad CPUs, or they have questionable CPUs at least, so it's not worth my time. Please check the CPU for a short, or check the short, check for a short. These are going to be on the main power rail here, so we don't have a short anymore on the main power rail. That's all cleared up. These are the CPU. CPU is 3.3, and this is the GPU. That's going to be 0.12. It's kind of low for the GPU, but we will see. All right, I'm just going to put a couple screws in here so it doesn't fall out. And I didn't bend the board back too much. It was mainly the heatsink that I was finding that was bent. Okay, everything's plugged in. We'll plug the battery in too while we're at it. All right, we got the power meter up. At 0.02, it did not short the charger. It's sitting at resting current. Now I went to 0.21, which is pre-charge current for the battery. It should jump up to about 2.5 amps. Let's see if it jumps up to that 2.5 amps. So pre-charge current is trying to basically bring the battery up to a certain voltage. It may be kind of depleted. Yeah, now it's at 2 amps. So now it's charging the battery at 40 watts. And so if we press the power button, that should drop back down and the machine should power on. I do have the keyboard backlight. We have the alien head and we're getting a blink code. We got a blink code. What do you think it is? I know what it is now because I can see it. It's a 2-4, guys. 2-4. 2-4 means here's your sign. Yeah, 2-1's the CPU. 2-4 means I didn't install RAM. No RAM. No RAM, no problem. 6-7, whatever. Apparently that was the number of the year. 6-7. Okay. Now that we have RAM installed, plug the battery back in. Okay, keyboard backlight's lighting up. We've got an alien head. I can't remember how long the CMOS reset is on this. Sometimes it will take a minute or two. Sometimes it's pretty quick. This is the AMD version, so I think it's pretty quick. 3.2 amps. So some of that's going to be charge current. We want to see if this thing's going to move around. Look for a 2 red, 1 blue error because that's going to be that the CPU's dead. And while we're doing that, I'll have some coffee. They should add a 6-7 blink code, huh? Dell's blink code of 6-7 is a user error. All right, so 60 watts. So it went down to 60 watts. Come on. It looks like it's alive, but it's still sitting here. So give it a couple seconds longer here. We've got to be patient. The EC chip needs to be programmed. All right, 7-7. 90. I think we're going to get an alien screen. Here we go. Come on. Keep an eye out. We're almost there. This suspense is killing me, I tell you. It went down. Now, if it keeps pulsing, if it ends up going up to that 0.9 or that 90 watt, then you come back down. If it does that multiple times, then we're probably going to get a 2-1 error because it means that it's trying to start the CPU. So it's back up there again. And we got an Alienware screen. I saved another laptop. Yes. Now that we got it to turn on, and 75% of you or 78% or whatever it was were correct, does it boot up? I'm going to put one of my test installs in here so that way we don't boot up into the customer's information. But I will put my Alienware install on here. We want to make sure the CPU actually works. I saved another laptop. Come on, come on, come on. Trying to plug this in with it hanging. There we go. All right, so I got my NVMe in there. This is already configured to Alienware's, so it works in most systems already out of the box. Turning on. Let's see if this thing will boot straight up into that Windows install. Okay, it's running an assist, checking the CPU fans. Did I plug the fans in? I don't remember plugging the fans in. Do you recall? I don't recall, and it's testing the fans, and I don't hear them blowing. So, haha! I did not plug them in. Here's your sign. There's another sign. A lot of Jeff Foxworthy going on here. Okay. Plug it in again. All right, fans are spinning this time. All right, alien screen. It's going to test the RAM. It's going to test the stuff real quick because it wants to make sure everything was good because the last time we started it up. You make it look so easy. Well, thank you. Hey, thanks for the donation. Well, I've done it enough, but I want people to kind of see that there's a lot involved. But yeah, I do make it easy, I guess. Make it look easy at least. And there's plenty of them that are not easy, I can tell you that. But I knew where to go just because of the measurement. So whenever I measured that main power rail and noticed that there was a 4 ohm short, then you kind of think about what could cause that. And then you can actually, instead of doing what I did, which is like went straight to the CPU, you could have measured all the output coils everywhere else and seen if you can find one that matches that same resistance, and then that means that you have that power rail shorted to the other power rail. Most of the time, if it's that low, it's going to be a CPU. Because CPU is going to be anywhere from like 1.5 ohms to about 4 ohms. All right, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm not going to go through all this. We're not testing this. We're just trying to boot. Do I recommend using a face mask to start protecting yourself and maintain your health when soldering? Hey, thanks for the gifted subs. We got some gifted subs. 5 gifted subs. That was so generous. Thank you. Thank you, Ink. So I use my air, whatever you call it, my vent. I don't know. I probably should. Use something. I'm going to get tested this month. I know Northridge Fix, he talked about how he had went to the doctor and got tested for lead, and he was fine. And he touches solder all day with no gloves, things like that, so I don't know. I'm going to get a full test workup. Hey, we successfully booted this to Windows. So with that shorted MOSFET, it actually protected the CPU in such a way that, or probably the protection MOSFETs on the main, but probably the protection MOSFETs on the board when you plug in the charger, those were actually protected everything, but we never tested that portion. But we were able to replace that MOSFET, and now it's all working. I'm actually going to run a Prime 95 on it too, and we'll just test the CPU's stress capabilities. And so we have every core maxed out right now. And it's running marvelously. So fume extractor was the word I was looking for. Thank you. For some reason I was like, my brain cannot get it. Fume extractor is what I use. It is which one is it? A Weller? I don't know. It cost me $800. So the fume extractor I use is $800. Has a cartridge that's like this thick that has carbon and all this other stuff in there. And so the cartridges themselves cost like $150 to replace every single time I replace them. So spend a lot of money on that type of stuff so I don't have to sit there and wear masks and gloves and all that stuff if you handle it properly. All right, so that one's in the books. So what I'm gonna do, hey, thank you so much for the 100 bits. So what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna give this repair to him for free. And first responder, first repair of the new year in the live stream. So Joseph's just got a free motherboard repair, and so hopefully that will help him out a little bit. And he helps us out, we help him out. So that's in the books. So and I'll finish that up later. We're gonna do PTM 7950. I'll do all the other stuff on there. Get it all nice and cleaned out and brand new, but I'll do that on another video unless you want to see me do that right now. If you want me to go through and do all the cleaning like I just did, I can do that. It's just not something that could be done. It's probably boring. We can do another board repair. Next. All right, so the next one's gonna be an XPS, a 9710. So this XPS 9710, let's see, it has a couple notes. This one says, no boot, no power, no fans, no display, no beep on there. And see if there's any other notes. Nope, that's what we got. That sounds like a shirt, by the way. Does not boot, no power, no fans, no display, no beep. Put that on my shirt. I love it. So this XPS 9710, we want to update the title down here. And let me clean off my counter. So what do we think's wrong with this one? Okay. All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved. And this time we have a Dell XPS 9710. Now this one was sent in because it has no power, no beep, no sounds, no displays, no nothing. And so it apparently doesn't work. So I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and we will see if we can get this figured out. And let's see if it does what they say. Press the button. Nope. No beep, no display, no power. Wait a minute. I see something. You guys. When I press the power button, we have the orange light of death. So every time I press the power button is whenever that orange light comes on. So that is I coined this orange light of death. It happens a lot actually on these 9700, 9710s. I have seen them on the 9500s, which is a 15-inch version of this board. Now, 3 different things that causes it that I've seen. So we've had bad EC chip, bad chipset or shorted chipset, or corrupted data lines on the BIOS chip, or corrupted BIOS. So all related to the kind of the same thing, but just, you know. Now, I've also seen it caused by people opening this thing up and changing stuff out. So the bottom is off. The screws are already out of it. So that's helpful. Main battery here, OEM. We have 2 NVMe's. Oh, this one's not populated. We got one populated here. We got some DDR4 memory. 32 gigs of DDR4, these fans. And remember, I like this design. I've showed this to you before, but the fans blow out the backs and the front. So the fans blow this way and the fans blow this way to cool the NVMe's. Good design, I think. All right, so what ends up happening a lot of times is that people do not unplug the battery and they keep it plugged in, and then these heatsink cages or the SSD cages are underneath the battery here. And so when you try to slide these out, you end up shorting out the chipset here or around this area. Wait, this is a 9700. I'm pretty sure the 9700 has the chipset here and the 9710 does not, but I don't know. We'll have to check that. Here, I'm going to look up this service tag. I'm pretty sure this is a 9700. Let's see. Oh, that's 9710. Okay. Okay. Warranty ended in 2022. The boards are similar. It's just weird because sometimes they ended up moving the chipset over at some point. But all right, so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the main battery. I want to plug the power back in. We never even plugged the power in, look at that. But I'm going to unplug the main battery and plug in the charger into this port on the side. It should power on automatically when I do this, so keep an eye on the power meter, which is not up there. Let's see, there it is, that power meter. And it negotiated 20 volts. It went to 0.2 straight out the gate, and now it's sitting there at 0.15 right out the gate. No, 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 no. No, 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 we don't want that. We know likey. We know likey. So on this machine, we should have, this is the boot process on this board. Here, I'll grab your board. I'll show you. Let's just do it this way. Let me grab your board. That's the same board. Here's one. Okay. Same board. Okay. All right. Now I want you to pay attention to the boot process here, the current. So look at the red part of there, the air current. So it's going to go it should go 0.0, what does it do? 0.05, then 0.08, then 0.03, then, I think that's what it does. So pay attention to that. You ready? Plug it in, 0.05, 0.07, then 0.03, then 0.078, and then it should jump up over an amp. There it goes. Boom. So that's what it should do. All right, did you see that little thing? And we can actually pull it up inside of my analyzer here. Let's see if I can pull that up. Hold on, so I'm trying to pull up this so you can see it at the same time. All right, so here's the actual battery meter. So when I plug it in, you can actually see it jump up. It does a spike, spikes down, spikes up, and then we actually get up to that full current there, okay? So this is what we're looking for, is this initial spike here, down, then back up, then up, up. So now if I plug it into the customer's board, do that again. So it's plugged into the customer's board. We have this initial spike, but now we have this pulse right here, okay? And it's actually staying at a higher, it's I guess it's going back and forth. It looks like it's on, off, on, off, on, off. So I think we have some sort of short on the board somewhere. Come on. There we go. But anyway, so I just want you to look at the boot process on these things. So we can automatically tell that, and this is the way it is with the battery unplug. So it's through a CMOS reset. When you plug it in initially, it does this little trigger right here, and the power's on. So we know that we have some sort of issue if we plug it straight in and it jumps straight up. What happened to my meter? Oh. There we go. So I plug it in again, and it jumps straight up to 0.2 and then sitting there at 0.15. So I think we probably have something hot on the board. We can go thermal camera. Let's go thermal, but we'll find something. I see the chipset. It's a little bit warm right there. I don't know what that is, but I bet it's on the other side of the board, whatever the issue is. Is it hot under here? No. Yeah, we're gonna have to take this thing apart. But something's getting hot. Yeah, let's measure the chipset, because I've definitely seen the chipset have an issue on this machine, like twice now. So here's our chipset. And we also want to see if we have any evidence of them taking this out and shorting it to anything. But the way to measure a chipset, or most of the time what ends up happening is you have capacitors around a chip. So the side that's pointing towards the chip itself is usually going to be the positive. And so right now I'm in continuity mode, and I just want to measure to see if we have a short on any of these. So the first one I went to is 0.5 ohm. So we have a short there, short here, short here. These are probably all tied together. Short here, short here, short here, short here. That's at 1.5 or 1.3. Short there, short there, short there, short there. So the fact that we have shorts on all of them is not good. A lot of times what you'll have is you'll have a short like on 4 of them or something, because this thing's powered by multiple power rails. You'll have a 3.3, you'll have a 1.8 and a 1.05. So you have all those going into this chip, and the fact that we have shorts on like all those things, then we probably have a short probably in our EC chip or the chipset itself. So, but anyway, I'm gonna pull the board out. That's what we're doing next. We don't know yet. We're just guessing. We're just guessing. So let me get going on these screws. Let's see. Last time I bought something for Asus, that was a big message. I can't read big messages, it's too hard. Words are hard. I'm starting to get back into reading books again, physical books. So I do a lot of audiobooks, and I figure since I do a lot of this, you know, having to read the chat, and it's hard for me to keep up with that, and I've always been a poor reader. So now I'm trying to read physical books again, get back into that, doing some little more biking again, trying to be a little more healthy this new year, hopefully. And actually, I'm glad that I'm doing, I was worried about this morning because I was coughing this morning and I haven't coughed yet. So maybe all this discussion and talking is working. Okay, I don't even need to take that off. Yeah, might as well. Words are hard. There's a short everywhere. You get a short, you get a short. Okay, here we go. Time for some Sudoku. All right. Oh my gosh. He said, aren't the screws there from the previous laptop? Yes, they are. Oh my God. Thank you. I usually pull a new tray out. I know the difference between the screws at least, but it's quite frustrating. It's quite frustrating when you start mixing screws. Luckily, they're totally different machines, so the way that they do the screws are different. That's pretty funny, though. All right. That should get me close enough. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Did you mix the screws? I crossed the streams. Don't cross the streams. The shorts are evenly distributed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could get on the other side and we could have like a spill or something too. Gosh, premise, every time I hear about your kidneys and thyroid cancer, oh, I do not want that. Do not. I'm glad that you're doing much better. That is just tough. Yeah, I have a doctor's visit coming up next week, so I will get a full test on everything. We will see. We will see how I am faring with all this lead exposure. You thought me... Am I the boss of all bosses? You thought me being the boss would know the difference. Come on. Quantum screwdriver. I do have a screwdriver. I have it wired up now. I can show you what it is. So these are these industrial screwdrivers that are in big factories that Dell actually used in all their factories. And we have quite a few of these around the building. And I use these all the time, or I used to, because they're super fast. And they have clutches on them that you can set. And they're made to be hung on like these springs or whatever from the ceiling. But I have a pile of them, but they are kind of big for laptops in general, so taking apart big Alienwares, I do it a lot of times, but this does speed it up for us here. Since nothing I hate more than watching people unscrew screws, or at least watching myself unscrew screws. I think it's a pointless part of a repair video in general. That's why I never even include it as fast forwarding. I'm like, why do we need to sit there watching me unscrew things? Yeah, it's a torque limited screwdriver, so it has a clutch, so you can set it to stop at whatever tension you want. So right here is like a little thing here, and you just kind of set it where you want it. So if you wanted to just set the screw in there lightly or really tight, since we're screwing into things that are very fine and will break very easily, if you have it over torqued, it will just sit there and strip it out. Strip out the mount altogether. What's going on here? What are you doing? There we go. All right, the motherboard is out. All right, let's see what the damage is. We might be changing out an EC chip today. I don't know. I don't know. All right, so now that we have it out, I'm going to plug it in. Let's just see if we have the same current as we did before. 0.1. So it definitely should not be doing that. It should be sitting at 0.02 afterwards, and then should be jumping around. So thermal camera says this is burning hot right here, which is the, oh, you can't see that, sorry. So this thing's burning hot right here, which is the LDO of some sort, I believe. If I can get it lined up. Yeah, this is like an LDO of some sort. And I think this either goes to the EC chip or the chipset. Sorry, I'm trying to measure the voltages here. Okay, so we have it plugged in still. So that's 3.2 on that side. That's 3.3 on that side. Nothing. 0.12. I believe this is the one that we're going to have the issue with. So 0.12 should not be 0.12. So this is where we're going to need to figure out what's going on. So this is hot only because it's trying to power something that's shorted. Okay. So I don't know if you're a tech where you would see this and go, okay, we found the issue. This is the problem. Okay. But no, that's not the problem. That's a symptom. That's a symptom of the problem. That's because it's trying to power something that is shorted. So now can we identify what is shorted? We're gonna look around. Our EC chip is pretty hot. That's hotter than I would think it needs to be. Okay, so that's our EC chip. I think we have a bad EC chip personally. But what's this right here? That's our power management chip. So that's the right color or temperature, I would think. Let's flip this over. And our chipset is not lit up really bright, so that's good. And then over here is lit up really bright, but that's because that LDO is burning up. All right. So now if we come back over here to our quote-unquote LDO, it's not, I don't think it actually is an LDO, but it does power these chips here. We're going to measure on that one leg there that we measured at 0.12. And we have our short. Okay, so here's our short. So this is where I want to inject voltage. We're going to inject it past this. So basically what was happening is we had voltage coming through here, and then it was trying to power off this leg here, and it was getting hot and shorting out. So do you think there's a hole in it? No, I don't think this thing's bad. And we can take it off, but I've seen this in the past. No, there's no hole in it. Looks fine. I'm just going to inject voltage past it. Okay, so we're just going to bypass that altogether and inject voltage. And I believe if I was a guessing man, I would guess that we have a shorted EC chip, because the EC chip was the other thing that was pretty hot or warmer than it should have been in general. So wrong button. I got too many buttons over here. So we're not going to do that many volts. So we have what, 0.3 of an ohm. So we could do that much. That much will work. Go back here. All right, so we have about an amp going into the board. And let me see if I can get where I don't have reflections. So nothing's getting hot over here. You see how that chip's not getting hot? So if that chip was shorted, it would backfeed back into that chip. Now that was me slipping off of the chip here. Oh, darn it. It'd backfeed back in the chip, so it's not doing that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do that while we're looking at the EC chip. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Well, the EC chip's not lighting up. Right here is though. Ah! Having a hard time doing this because it's moving around on me. Okay, try it again. There we go. What's this? This area right here. It's the chipset on the other side of the board there. So it's right here that's getting kind of lit up there. Yeah. Chipset. So I think the chipset's bad, or we have a shorted capacitor on the chipset, but I doubt that. Oh, that's no bueno, no bueno. All right, so this time we're gonna just inject it right on the chipset itself because we're crazy. Because we're crazy. Okay, so we're doing it right there. It's the die itself getting hot. So if we had a shorted capacitor that was on this, we wouldn't see the edge of the die getting hot like that. Darn it, I keep touching the edge there. I'm gonna up the voltage just a little bit. So anyway, it's a bad chipset. So yeah, I don't have, like, this would be something that you could change out probably, but I don't have the stencil for this either. So, so that's no good. So that's a bad chipset. Nothing we can do about that right now, at least. And in general, we would just call that a bad board. But chipsets are a little bit easier to manage or deal with. Just wondering about the meters you use. The other one, I want to fix my 1150. You're talking about my power meter off to the side right here? Or the, you're talking about the one I have on this camera here? I have a video on how to make one of those. You want to fix your 1150? You're talking about 1150, Inspiron 1150? Is that what you're talking about? Because that thing is old. Yeah, so that's a no fix, unfortunately. You're hoping to make a power meter soon. Premise, did you ever make a power meter? I wonder how many people actually made this power meter. Negative. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's like I want to make them to sell them. I need to figure out a way of doing that. It's like getting, I mean, because I don't want to sit there and 3D print all these cases and things like that. But if I was able to get a manufacturer to manufacture like a nice aluminum case for it or something, it would even be cooler if it had it where you can put multiple manufacturers in the back or something like that. Kind of like what JFix uses is a multiple output, because each one of those has a different way, but it would be nice to have a different pass-through. Would you be willing to do a paid repair for an older Dell motherboard? Not Dell motherboard. No, I don't work on anything other than Dell and Alienware. I'm busy enough as it is with just doing my Dell stuff, right? So I didn't look to see. Oh, I was going to do that number, but I think I did 1,500 repairs last year. I think that's what it was. So not a ton, not a huge number, but it's a lot. It's still a lot for me, I think. All right, so that one's no good for right now. We're gonna no bueno, no go on that one. We'll do the next one. Should we do the Inspiron? I have a X14 also with no charge, no power, something like that. And then I have a, what's this one? Yeah, that's an X14. I also have another 17R4, XPS 9315. I don't know. I got a few of them stacked over here, so whatever you want to see. Oh, we're going to chat. I'll put away the screws this time. Thank you. So I'm just going to throw a magnet in here and scoop up all this stuff here. So we got the 17R4. That's the older board, the older laptop. Yeah, I believe it has a short on the main power rail. I think it's a lower ohm short, if the customer's notes are correct. So maybe not a CPU, maybe it's a Easy Pizza. The X14 is, let's see what their notes are. Shoot. Will not charge is what their notes are on the X14. Will not charge. I don't know. Does that mean power's on? I don't know. But here's an Inspiron that was on the queue. It's a nice Inspiron. So it's basically like one of the higher end ones. We got XPS, Inspiron Latitude. I can attempt to repair 1,500 repairs. That's a huge number. I just don't know how, in relative to any other repair shop. Because I know some places do a lot more than that. I can tell you right now, though, we're getting crazy busy. All these people keep filling out all these forms, so I know I'm about to get bombarded. It's the silent killer. All right, we're gonna just do the Inspiron since that was the next one on the list anyway. So, so this one says not charging. Charger is fine. Battery is fine. Thinks the issue is something else. So this one's 7640, so it's going to be one of the newer. Oh, Evil Corp. Y'all ever watch that show? That's what was it called? Mr. Robot. Evil Corp. I couldn't save this laptop. Yeah, only the mods have bell commands, but if you do a super chat, then you have a bell command for the super chat. So you actually have an Inspiron 1150. Just order the new power supply. Yeah, we sell this power supply. So just so people know, an Inspiron 1150 is a Pentium 4 machine that has DDR2, and there's a tendency on that machine, if I can remember now, that the door on the bottom that is for the Wi-Fi card, I believe, there's one of the legs are too long on it, and it starts rubbing on this chip, the U56 chip on the board, and breaks the solder joint on it. You just need to reflow the chip. So if you're having an issue with your Inspiron 1150, I bet it's that. So just take the door off. We end up filing that leg down or just cutting off the leg, and then we just reflow the U56 chip. So hopefully that fixes you up, if that's not working. Older than an Inspiron 1300. 1300's old as crap too. Man, you guys are throwing out some old stuff. It's like making me dizzy, especially for Inspirons. So you couldn't watch it. The Mr. Robot, I think the first part of the season, I couldn't make it the whole thing, but the first season was pretty good, or at least the first half of the season was pretty good. Okay, sorry, enough gabbing. All right, so this machine doesn't charge, I said, or is it not powering on? It says not charging, so does it mean it comes on? I don't know. Let's press the power button. It's a beautiful laptop. Look at this thing. Inspiron 16. This thing may be under warranty. This thing looks pretty new. Here, we're gonna look up the warranty on it real quick. Although Inspirons only have like year warranty, so that's probably unlikely. All right, it has, oh, where am I looking for? Which button? There we go. August 2025, its warranty ended. So it is out of warranty by just a couple months. All right, let's plug in the power meter. I think this is only USB-C. Yep. The Arnold voice. I don't know where this Arnold voice keeps coming from. Oh my gosh. I'm ridiculous. Oh. Okay, power meter, where are you at? Where art thou? All right, so we plugged in the charger, 0.01. Hit the power button. Nothing happened. So 0.01, that's a good thing. Okay, so we have a pulse here. So I want you to look at that. So did you see it do some pulsing for a second? It went 0.38 down to 0.01, 0.38 down to 0.01. I'm going to do it again. 3, 2, 1. Pulse, 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 pulse. So it's like it was trying to start and then it was like running into a short somewhere or some sort of issue. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to try the other port. Same thing, pulse, pulse, pulse. Okay. So that's all we have. We don't have any like extra ports here. And this power button has been mashed. I can feel it's been pressed so hard. So it's not powering on. Now, when someone says it doesn't charge, sometimes they're saying it doesn't come on. Right? I don't know. Because it would be nice if they said, works off the battery, but doesn't charge the battery. But we don't know if it actually works off the battery. They're just saying it doesn't charge. So I'm not assuming that the laptop's actually working. It's Uncle Bob's laptop. Another bad CPU. Definitely, I don't think that we're not going straight to bad CPU in this. 3 or 5 volt might be shorted, maybe. Or we have a PD controller that's shorted, maybe. Yeah, these laptops only have like a year warranty in general, so they probably bought it August of 24. If you buy an Inspiron, just get like an extra year warranty on it, and usually you'll pay off. Although it's like 10% of the cost of the whole laptop, right? Inspirons in general are just cheaper machines. And so a lot of times whenever I hear people are like, Dell makes junk computers, it's because they bought a $300 Inspiron. So, and the bottom is off. All right, so here's the newer style Dell batteries. See, they look different. They look different. So I think this is supposed to help with anti-piracy, I guess, on the way that they are able to print the label in a way that most manufacturers can't do it. And so this one does say Dell. It says standard. You can't really see very well, but this is the newer style. And then the serial number is on the back side of these batteries. But I can tell this one's legit. Too legit to quit. Huge fan. Look at that. Huge fan. Nice beefy heatsink. This is actually designed pretty well. And this is going to be one of these machines that are modular. So the board is small and it has a daughter board with a cable. And if they wanted to make this a 14-inch machine, 15-inch, 16, 17, whatever they wanted, they just put the board off to this side and they put this daughter board off to that side. They just kind of keep shifting that. So, battery's unplugged on this machine. So let's plug in the battery and let's just see if it does come on with the battery. I don't see a keyboard backlight or anything. Let's plug in the charger now that the battery's plugged in. Still getting similar pulses, a little bit different amp rating, but what's the best Dell model? Not an Inspiron. Just pay a little bit more. So if you buy a laptop, so let's just say it like this, for every $200 you spend on a laptop, you get 1 year out of the laptop. Spend $1,000, you get 5 years. Once you get over $1,000, then it's a little bit diminished on that. So maybe it's every $300 is a year. So if you spend $1,500, or let's just say $1,400, you get like 7 years out of a laptop. That's what I think. And then by a lot of latitudes, you can get 10 years out of them easy. But if you get an Inspiron, I usually call those disposable laptops or Walmart specials, and you replace them every 2 years. I just want to see what the voltage is on the battery here. So battery's at 0 right now. Doesn't mean it's at 0. And I don't know if I have one of these batteries, unless it's the same as the other ones. Let me see. What's the type number on this? PDFWH. I don't think I have one of these batteries in my stack right now, but let me just check. Because it does kind of look like the XPS battery, same style. But I don't think it's the same. It's definitely not the same part number. Well, let's just see if one of these will work on it. It looks about the same, the mount's about the same, everything lines up about the same. So that's what I'm gonna go with. We're gonna say it's the same. But what the goal is to see if you can get this thing to turn on battery. Before we start messing with stuff, before we start assuming this doesn't work, things like that. So all this lines up about the same. Yeah, this is definitely the newer version of this same battery here. So this will probably power it, but maybe it won't. Yeah, I was close to. Maybe it will power it, but it won't charge or something like that because it doesn't like the battery. I don't know. We'll see. But it should power it. I'm just going to put a couple screws in here so we don't have to worry about it. Nathan, you couldn't find a webcam replacement for a 7425 2-in-1. Well, if I don't have it listed on the site, it just means I probably didn't do a cross-reference on it. So if you pull your old one out, get the part number off of it, type that part number in. So the part number is going to be CN0, and then the next 5 digits is the numbers you need to type in. Just type it in on my website and we'll pull it up. Most likely just because I didn't do a cross-reference on it. Now, if it's a 7425, 7420 will probably be the same one because 25 is going to be the AMD version of that machine. So it's probably just going to be the same one. We just didn't put it in that category. All right, so battery's in here. Let's see if it powers on now. No. Let me check the voltage. All right, still no voltage. So if the battery both times has been is shut off or it's at 0 volts. Now I don't know if this battery had charge on it, but I'm pretty sure it did because I used it in my stack of batteries. If we plug in a battery and the battery's at 0 volts, then it's probably being told to shut off because there's probably a short on the board. So I think the next thing we need to do is just kind of look for a short on the board. And let's check. It's all covered up. It drives me crazy. Why is all this covered up, man? Why is all this stuff covered up, man? Intel's model naming makes me glad I quit selling their junk. The Ultra, the Core Ultra. Intel's naming is not the worst, but I mean, I don't know the whole naming scheme of the newer setup anyway at this point, but I want to get the sticker off of here. Give me a second here. I need to fix my chat window here. I'm having an issue seeing the chats very well. Okay, let's see if that's better. Where's the co-pilot button on the keyboard, man? We need the co-pilot button. Just trying to find something to measure off of here. There's this huge sticker in my way. I see some coils now. I see the coils. All right, so we're going to be trying to identify if we have a short on the board. Oh, there's the, is that RAM memory? We got RAM memory built on here. Quick, take them DDR5s off that board. We need it. It's worth $500. RAM prices are ridiculous. All right, so I just want to find these coils here. I just want to measure the main power rail. There's the battery connector. And we're getting 0 volts here. This is probably a charge coil. I've never worked on this board before. There's our EC chip. That looks like our BIOS chip. That's our BIOS chip, and it has a second BIOS chip. Yay! It has 2 BIOS chips, my favorite. You know what you have to do on that? You have to combine them before you start working on them. Why don't you just make it 1 chip, for God's sakes, people. Let's see, I need to find a good grounding area here. All right, so I'm gonna measure for a short on all these things. Quick, steal these DDR5 modules. So, let's see if we have a short. That's just a little gummy gum. So we don't have a short on that power rail, but what I want to see is if we have a short going into the power rail. So this was going to produce some voltage. I don't know what it is, 5 volts, 3 volts, 1.8, whatever it is. I don't care, right? This is going to be the chip that produces that, okay? And then you're going to have, so this is the output. The input's going to be on this other side, and it looks like this is a main track, and it's powering this chip also that's going to produce some sort of power rail. And that one's not shorted either. But if we measure right here, this is a capacitor, and it has a short on both sides. So this power rail right here, which is probably the main power rail, is shorted. And it's even shorted with a ohms or whatever, a resistance that we here call an easy burrito repair, because it's low enough that it's probably going to be a shorted capacitor somewhere. So I don't know where it is, but we're about to figure that out quickly. Now the question is, do I just pull this board out? Because even if it is on this side of the board, I don't know if I want to do it with that board still in there. Oh, we'll see if my coffee's still hot. My coffee's still hot. I love this cup. This is a good cup. It's one of these Ellos. I put this coffee in here at 8, yeah, it's almost 3 hours ago. Still hot. All right, so let's inject some voltage right here. Let's monitor it under a thermal camera. Let's see if we can identify where the short is. Most likely it's going to be some sort of shorted capacitor, because we did measure the resistance almost close to 0. And hopefully we can save another laptop. All right, the voltage injection tool, we're going to have it set to something very, very low, because we are close to 0 when we're measuring our resistance. So about 0.6, let's go 0.5. And just clip onto something that's a good ground. And because we did identify the short right here, we can just use this area. And we are getting about a 3. We got 3 amps going in there. So let's see what the thermal camera says. What is that? What is that? Right here. So that was right here on the board, behind this thing. So we're going to lift that up. Right there. Right there. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to take all this stuff apart, I can tell already. Let me rotate this. Yeah, Dell split their BIOSes from 2016 to 2019. This machine's only a couple years old though, so, or no, a 1 year old. So I don't understand why this would be doing that. All right, so short's right here. Now, there's our PD controller chip, okay? So that's gonna be our power delivery chip for our USB-C. Do you think it's that? Do you think it's a capacitor over here? Do you think it's this right here, producing this power rail? Which one do you think? What do you think? Anyone have a guess? Or do you think it's like a diode like that? My Soren accent is no good. Oh. I'm gonna do isopropyl alcohol. We're gonna figure it out. I just want people to guess. I want people to guess. What's wrong with me? I love people guessing. All right, so we just doused that whole area with isopropyl. We're gonna go back over here and gotta find a ground again. So I'm gonna inject that voltage all over again. Where did I do it at? Right here? Oh. Okay, we're gonna go up just so we can see it actually kind of stick its head out a little bit better. Okay, do you see which one it is? And we're gonna see if we can get this a little bit easier to see. That. Zoom in just a little bit. I'm gonna add some more alcohol. I can see which one it is. I just like it whenever you guys could be like, oh, I know which one it is. I can see it. Okay. There's no chip number really on it, so it's kind of hard to know, but you guys can see the alcohol kind of dancing around. So it's going to be, if you didn't notice, it's going to be this area right here. God, this sticker wants to fold back down. It's driving me nuts. It's in this area right here. It's either this guy or this guy. I'm thinking it's this one right here, but it could still be that one. I think it's this one though. This one does have kind of a discoloration on it. And we can look at it one more time. Yeah, it's definitely that big one. Yep. So it's this guy right here. So we're just going to remove that guy. So what's basically happening is that it's connected from the positive to the negative, and it's shorting that power rail down to the ground, which I think is the main power rail, or the one that the board runs off of, which would be probably the same as battery voltage. So hopefully just replacing that chip would actually fix the issue. And this is, here, I'm gonna have to take all this junk off. This is about to freak out. I hate these plastic covers, especially if I have to sit there and hold them out of the way. So I'm gonna take the heatsink off and then I can pull that off. Big one or tiny one? I think it's the big one. It's a capacitor, a big capacitor. Big burrito today. Get some pliers and just snap it off of there, right? What? This thing has liquid metal? No. No liquid metal. No liquid metal in that machine. No short, no capacitor. No short, no machine working. This plastic goes underneath the Wi-Fi cord, of course. Hammer and a chisel will work fine. And since the chip or the capacitor is like towards the middle of the board, I think we can do it with it installed still. A lot of times I don't like doing it with it installed. Maybe I'll just lift this board up a little bit. It's kind of a thin board, so we don't need a lot of heat either. Okay. Hot tweezers, hot air. We can do, if we do hot air, we'll do hot tweezers, and then we'll do low temperature hot air. That way we can actually preheat the board and get it where it comes off easily. Otherwise it's really hard. So we're doing 300 degrees on this one, which would put the board probably around like 200 or 150. So it's heating up that area. And then here we'll go into the microscope. So the one we're taking off is the one we kind of scratched up there. Why not solder it with a few amps? Well, you know, there's only so much voltage I like to inject into a board because we'll end up burning out a track somewhere else. I don't like it. Keep the air at 250 and touch it with the pen. Yeah. Yep, low temperature. 300 is what I usually do, is my low temp, which I found is fine. I'm not getting like right up on it. I just kind of keep it kind of high so it's out of my way. And then now I have the hot tweezers all heated up. We're just gonna use that to grab it. Because the ground side is always the hard part to get undone. See, I can't even get down in there either. Let me add some flux. Okay, we're just going to keep going with this NF white because there's plenty of people that are going to be asking questions, if that's any good. I don't think it's super good, but it's not the worst. Oh man, I can't get down in there. Can't get down in there. Doesn't want to come off. All right, let me add some solder to the edges here. We're going to have to pre-flow it. Snap it off like a pizza. Snap it off and get your pizza. I don't like snapping it off the board because I don't want to rip a pad. There we go. Just add a little bit of solder. Came off fine. All right, so now I'll add some fresh leaded solder here. All right. Now, I don't have a donor board for this, so I don't know what value we're going to be putting on there. What value you want to put on there? I don't know, but we can at least see if the board works. Let's see if the board works. Oh, let's just check to see if the short's gone first. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So short is gone. This is the ground side. That's not the ground side. So that's resolved. Now let's let me screw the heatsink back on temporarily. The short is gone. The short is gone. Will it turn on? 100 nanofarad seems good. Okay, let's see what else. 10 microfarad. So we got 100 nanofarad, 10 microfarad, 10 or 20 microfarad. Probably sound good to me. 100 ohms. Yeah, we'll put a 100k ohm resistor right across it. See how that works. All right, I'm gonna plug this battery back in. This is the battery that doesn't even go to it, but let's see if it actually has voltage now on the terminal. We don't, but that doesn't mean anything because a lot of times if it has a short, it will tell it to shut off, so. Okay. And 0.01, 0.02, shuts off, came back on, and tried to power for a second, shut back off, came back on. It's doing a weird little cycling. All right, I'm gonna put the original board back in there. I mean, battery back in there first. Yeah, we're gonna change out the capacitor in a second. So everyone's saying 20 or 10. So I'll do with one of those. Probably just take any of them that are on the main power rail on any of these boards too. But I'll see what I have. You're super late. Don't be late. Don't be late. Measure the one next to it. Well, the only way to measure is you gotta take it out of the circuit, so I don't know if I'm wanting to do that. But, will 100K ohm work? You people and your resistors. It's not a bloody resistor, it's a capacitor. All right, so now we have their battery installed. Let's see if it likes it better. 0.5876. Okay, it's staying on this time. So this one actually is liking the battery. We've got 3 amps. Why do you only fix Dell, please? So I've specialized in Dell for 24 years this year. And we carry every single part for every single model. We have about 700,000 parts in our warehouse. That's why. So if I had a warehouse that had every other model, then I would do it, but repair is a really small portion of my business. I think last year, it used to be around 3 or 4%. This last year is about 6 or 7% of my business, but it's still a very small portion of my business. So repairs doesn't make up very much of how we make money. Because repair is hard. It's a grind. And it's really hard to be successful making a lot of money doing this. All right. I could turn the capacitor into a resistor. Install a flux capacitor, needs 1.21 gigawatts. So we're waiting for the screen to come on here. It's probably going through a CMOS reset. We will be replacing the capacitor. While this is trying to come on, we're at 4 amps now. And we got the Dell screen. I saved another laptop. So while it does that, let's dig through these capacitors. I don't have tons of choices, so that's why we need a 20 volt, I'm sure. Let's see, here's a 10 microfarad, 10 volt. 10 volts not big enough. 10 volts not big enough. Back to the Future reference, that's right. Let's see. What we got? 6.3 volt. 6.3 volts. Yeah. Battery or hard drive's not installed. 22 microfarad. I know we probably need something that's going to be on the main power rail, so we need to be high enough. These are all 6.3 volt. Because most of the stuff I'm replacing is going to be on the lower power rails. Let's see about this one. Come on. Probably should buy some of these other ones. 500 volt picofarad. That was a misorder. I remember that day. Okay, well I don't have any. I don't know where they are. Fuses. Okay, let's just grab one from our board. We'll just take one off a main power rail on here, and we'll be good to go. Because it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be good. The alarm is the loudest thing. Copilot is bloatware. Unless you love AI. Who loves AI? Hey, thanks for the donation, James. Thanks for teaching the theory and operation. I'm learning component level board repair or electronics, and your repairs are helpful. Well, thank you. I love trying to, I don't know, get my thought process or whatever it is, however I want to say it, get inside my head. All right, so the one we took off is this Big Daddy, and let's see if we can find one that's good. So I'm gonna just take, I think one of these next to the CPU will work. These right here, because they're gonna be the same. Oh, a little smaller. Why are you so small? I don't know if this is the one we took off though, actually. Is it? It is. So here's the one we took off. And if you want to see the crack, it's on the back. On the side? Where is it? There you go. You can see the crack there. Da-dum-dum. So we're going to take this guy right here. Because these are all going to be on the main power rail right here. So we're going to take that guy. AI is slop. Yeah, I was listening to a video yesterday. Was it yesterday? I can't remember. But I really liked the way it was explaining. It was just the statistical probability of what comes after the next thing, right? So if every single time it's trying to figure out what it needs to say next, there's the next word in its answer, it's just finding the statistical probability of that word being the next word. And I'm like, once I heard that, I was like, oh, there's no real thought involved in it. It's just basically just saying, well, most of the time this word comes next. So, that seems horrible. All right. Wait, which one did you say was good? PU500 looks good. Yeah, PU500 is an actual chip, bro. Capacitor. It's a capacitor. I'm at 300C. It's gonna take forever to get that thing off. Spicy autocorrect. Apps are goofy suddenly. Come on, baby. You can do it. Okay, so here's our brand new capacitor. Brand new. You want to measure what the capacitance is? Just because we're crazy? Capacitance. Capacitance. Where are you at? Where out thou capacitance? Alright, here we go. Can we do it without it flying away? That's the question. Looks like a 10. An old tenner. Except it went down to 0. It's probably because of the way I was holding it. Let me stick these in here and go like that. What's going on with you? Do it again. Stab it in, lean it over. Stab it in, lean it over. Come on. There we go. What are you doing to me? I'm about to freak out. About to freak out, man. Here, I'm just going to use this guy right here. These are tweezers that are made to go do this. I'm going to shut the sound off here. Measure the board next to it. Yeah, I mean, if you really want me to take that off, I can. People love. Okay, so this is actually hooked to the meter now, so now I can just go like this. So much easier. That doesn't look like enough. Is that pico? No, it says nanofarad. 0.03 nanofarad? Is that... Would that be 35 microfarad? Pico's... No, nano. Let's say nano. It goes micro, nano, then pico. So that's 32 pico. That's too small. It's too small. That doesn't seem right to me, but I don't understand how that could be that value. Okay, well, let's keep hunting here. Goodwill hunting. I don't understand how that one was that value. Now, all these are smaller in physical size. So, and then, like, all these should be on the main power rail, I feel like. Flip the board. But if we flip the board, we need to be where all the voltage is. Where, like, big voltages are coming in. Because that's going to be lower voltages. These are all CPU voltage. So they're going to be like a 6.3 volts or something like that. We need something to be on 20 volt lines. So all the power management stuff's over here, right? So these guys, let me get an Alienware board instead. I think this has an operating voltage anyway of battery voltage, which, let's get an Alienware board. Alienware, where art thou, Alienware? Okay. Let's do one of these. Okay, so main power rail area is going to be over here. There's a big fatty right there. It's just a filter one anyway, yeah. The capacitor's not like super relevant for size, but we don't want to go to a 30 picofarad from a 10 nanofarad or something. The next one will be 33, you think too? All right, cash your bets. An old fatty. Why is it still 0.033 nanofarad? Well, if you just move the decimal point over 3 is why. Okay. Oh, why is the meter at that? Yeah, because it probably disconnected because I was yanking on it. There we go. Is that better? Or maybe there's still capacitance in its memory. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, wait for this thing to cool off, maybe. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. What? 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 Is this thing regulation? Cue the laughter. All right, I'm going to take the... That's ridiculous. Yeah, see? Cue the laughter. All right, so should we take off the one next to the other one to see what the value is? Is my meter okay? I think my meter needs a transplant. That doesn't even make sense, man. Here, I'm gonna pull this other guy off. There we go, ha 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 ha. That's what we're looking for. The old ha 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 ha. Ah 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 ah. All right, I'm gonna pull this guy off. I'm just gonna set him to the side. We'll measure him on the board here. Can't believe it said that. Come on, Batman. What are we doing? Dave's plumber. Dave Plumber. Hi, I'm an ex-Microsoft person and wrote the task manager. Come on, Bubba. What are you doing? Sleeping? Don't be sleeping on the job. Board isn't even thick. Bruh, this board's not even thick. All right, so what's this one gonna measure? Everyone said 10, and now is it gonna measure 33? Yes, I know of him. I've seen his videos. Okay, here we go. Hey, thanks for this stuff. Thank you for the donation, Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Bruce, thank you. All right, let me cool this off a little bit because may be wrong for the temps. All right. What is going on with this stupid meter? That looks like a 10 microfarad to me. I don't know. It's actually weird. I've measured plenty of capacitors in my day using this stupid meter. Here, let's try this one again. But maybe not with these stupid tweezers, AliExpress tweezer thingies. So now we're at 48 microfarad. It was just measuring 33 microfarad. Okay, now it's going down the longer I hold it. Now we're at 18. Now we're at 48. What is this? What's the problem? What's the problem with this thing? I'm squeezing hard too. This. I think it's right. No. What the hell's wrong with this thing? I don't think this tester is going to be any good for testing one of these stupid things. It became a potentiometer. All the flux. Yeah, maybe it's fluxed out. The probe tweezers are the problem. Maybe we can put it on the circuit and see if it explodes. I mean, if it was good enough for an Alienware board, it's good enough for this board, right? Right? You need gold tweezers. Gold. I need gold. All right, these are crap. They're gold plated. They're not even gold plated. That's the flux. I've fluxing lost my mind, man. Feels bad. Feels bad, man. All right, I'm gonna try this one more time with this. There's no way this thing isn't what it's saying it is. Touching it. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking, and it will tell me. What? 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 You need a spark. 10 mic. Here, I know what we'll do. I know what we'll do. Oh, this is taking longer than it needs to take, but it's all for fun. The whole thing's for fun. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to... What we got? What we got? Subscribe for 3 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna pull up the board that we just pulled that thing off of. So we just pulled this capacitor right here. Good thing we didn't put it on there because it's gonna explode. Wait, is that capacitor? That was gonna go boom, bro. That's a 6.3 volter. Okay, all right. So let's find a 10 microfarad on the same board. But how are they call the nets on this thing? Can we just do 10 microfarad? No. Can we just search by, I guess we have to do that in the schematic, right? Can we go in the schematic then? So let's do 10 microfarad. That's all you're going to give me is this list. That's a weird list here. They're going to be 25 volt though. So maybe I can do 25 volt. But it'd be 25 underscore V. I can't remember how they write it. 25V. Nope. What is it? Why is 10 microfarad not coming up with anything? We can do 22? Maybe 22 will come up? Microfarad, 6.3s, 6.3, 4.7s, 16. I don't know if 16 would work because the main power rail, I mean, I guess the main power rail in this machine is probably battery voltage, which would be like 12 point something. But I'd rather put a 20 volt on there. Search 10U, that's a good idea, 10U. U came up with nothing? How's that possible? We just 10U, search, nothing. But if I do 10UF, I get this weird crap here. Okay, all I'm trying to do is find a net number that we can go to. 10 volt, 10 volt, 10 volt. Schematic's stupid. Let me find a different schematic. Let's do this board. Okay. 10 microfarad. See, it is just 10U like you're saying. Then I'll put the farad on there. 10. Okay, so 10U. 6. So we actually want to do a 10U 25. 25 maybe? No. Sorry, now I'm like, my brain's starting 0603. Okay. Now we're cooking. There's a 10 volt, 6.3s, lots of 6.3s. Oh, that was it. Go back. How do we go back? Previous? There we go. All right, that's the one we want. We want this guy. Darn it. Is that it? All right, found it. Well, that was a lot of work. Why is it so hard to find a part? I should just have it in stock. Oh, okay. So we're gonna get that board. Because I have donor boards of that board that I just pulled up, that schematic. That's why I did that one. So that's this board. So that's this board right here. And then its location is, let's see, get my orientation here. Right here. It's gonna be right there. And it's supposedly that guy right here. So we'll just take him. But you know what's funny is that I mean, I have no idea if the other one's 6.3 or not. I'm sure it will. I mean, this is not going to break anything because this will actually not break something. It's basically what it will do. It's a properly calibrated capacitor, man. All right, so let's pull this off. It's definitely going to be smaller, because this is more like the size that we've been looking for. Oh, but I guess we chose 0603, but maybe it's an 0408. I don't know. I don't know. I'm back. What are we looking at? We're trying to find a capacitor, and we're scouring motherboards trying to find one, because I don't have the exact donor board. I'm kind of looking like an idiot in the process, man. All right, so this little... Look how tiny this thing is. This thing is a wimp. What size is this, then? If this is an 0603, then that would be an 0805. Okay, let's do 0805. Oh, 0805. U 0805. There we go. There's Big Bertha. Big Bertha's right here. Keep doing that. Big Bertha's right. Yar. Okay, Bertha, where are you at? Bertha's one of these. These are Bertha's right here. All of them. All the way across. So we'll take one of these guys. And that's our uncle. Wait, the board view says 150? Yeah, you're messing with my brain. This board view does not go to the machine we're working on. It goes to a board that I'm trying to steal apart from. Bertha needs love too. Okay. Okay, let's see if Bertha fits in here much better. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Much more love. With much love, Bertha. There we go. All right, so those are all going to be happy little campers there once we get them installed. Add some Fluxity Flux. I'm not taking one for the team again. Okay, low temp. All right, so I'm going to attach this Bertha first because she's not attached to anything at the moment. And we need to get her attached to the board. It's hard to get the ground side heated up enough. Hate it. Hate it. Why are you doing this to me, Bertha? Stay. You need to be obedient. We put some leaded solder on there on the board, didn't we? It's just it doesn't fit down in here very well. Okay. All right, I'm done with that. Ah, it's because my hot tweezers turned off. Well, there's your problem. Where'd you go, Berthy? Where'd you go? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? There she is. What are you doing over there, stinker? What are you doing over there? Okay. She's being a little bit crazy. That's to be expected. Can't get this figured out here. Those hot tweezers, I give up on them. It's just like too hard to get it to sit right with those. It's so much easier, man. The humanity. Stay. Don't you fly away, Bertha. Okay. Okay. That was so much quicker without the hot tweezers. I hate hot tweezers. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I hate them. Maybe mine. Maybe I hate mine. Maybe that's what it is. But they seem to be more of a pain. The math calls for a 22 microfarad. We need some picofarads up in the house. Can I get a picofarad in the house? Okay. Cleaning time. Okay. That's done. Okay, well, I guess you want the overhead here. What has been done here? Okay. That song always comes on and it has some Pink Floyd in the background. I don't want to get copyright striked. Okay. This is just my brother's playlist still going in the background, if anyone's wondering. The music. All right, so we already did turn this on and it was working after we took off the short off the board, but now we have Bertha on there. She may change everything. So battery's plugged back in. And we have 0.03 turned off, came back on, 0.8, and it should jump up to about 2.5 amps and then go through a CMOS reset. Come on. Jump up. 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, go, go, go. And you get up to 2 amps. It's taking a sweet time, isn't it? I haven't powered it on. Maybe I need to hit the power button. Okay, so that's battery charge current right there. So let me try pressing the power button again. So maybe it was powering on, it just wasn't charging the battery yet. All right, so we'll just let it go through here. There we go. So that's battery charge current with it powering on at the same time. Looks like we do have about 850 people on YouTube, 75 people on Twitch. So I appreciate everybody coming out this Sunday. We are in the third laptop. The first laptop we were able to get fixed pretty quickly. The second one ended up having a shorted chipset, so we were having to cut ties with that one pretty quick. This third one, shorted capacitor, and it just took a little bit of time to try to find the right capacitor. This does have one of the higher end screens. It probably is an OLED on this machine, but we'll have to spend a little bit of time. There we go. We got the Dell screen, and let's see if it boots to Windows. I saved another laptop. I know people want to hear that. I know people want to hear that. There we go. And let's see if it boots up. Coffee's still warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. All right, it's not booting. We took out the SSD, that's why. SS Dizzle. Oh, heck yeah. No more e-waste. Yeah, this machine was, what did we figure out? It was like 3 months out of warranty. Three months out of warranty. Wolfie. All right. Yo, big fan. Well, thank you, Windows 7 lover. Do you actually run Windows 7 still? The old 7 lover? Great stream. Thanks, Nate. Well, thank you. Michael Dell would not be proud. The multitasker master. No, I'm really bad at reading chat at the same time. That's a sick background. Look at that thing. Yeah, this is a nice looking screen. Very nice, nice computer. We have picture! I can't believe. So we were able to fix 2 for 3. today, and we could do another one if you want, but we can just hang out and chat too for a little while. I'm going to shut this down. Looks like it wants to do a Windows update. Yay! It's not giving me an option when I shut it down. Sorry, I missed the answer to Windows 7 Lover. I want to see if he actually is running Windows 7 still. Well, do you have another battery for an Acer laptop? I don't sell batteries for Acers. I only sell Dell stuff. My laptop's 9 years out of warranty. I can't believe. That's crazy. Yeah, dude, great stream. Great stream. Yeah, everything is pretty good. Worked out pretty good. I don't know if we want to do any shenanigans. I don't know. Or if y'all just want to hang out and chat, or I can try to fix another machine. I have another laptop I kind of want to look at. I don't know if I'm going to, well, maybe I'll do a video on it. I don't know. When I do them inside the live streams, then I don't get to do videos on them, so. And then not as many people get to see the videos or see these repairs. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do. Maybe we can chat here for a second, but. So new year, you can change it to just chatting if you want. So it's a new year, right? So I'm trying to figure out what the plan will be. So right now, as of last year, we were doing 2 days a week live streams, 4 hours. So it's like 8 hours a week of live streaming, Wednesdays and Sundays. And then we were doing like viewer's choice a lot of times on both days. Sometimes we were having Sundays be something a little different. But viewer's choice, I'll sometimes end up going through 6 laptops. And on those, I don't really get to do videos out of that stuff. And so that's the problem, is like I'd rather, like, I want to be able to record these and put them out, because the live streams just die like after they're done, right? So if we just, you know, did this live stream, everyone had fun, we all participated, we fixed the computer live, and then the video basically dies and nobody ever watches it ever again. So within a week, it gets down to like 5 views a day or something. Now the other videos will get thousands and hundreds of thousands of views, and it will actually live on for a long time, so people get more value out of it. So the problem is that I don't know if doing 2 days a week of doing the viewer's choice is practical. Now, whether I want to do I want to have like one day it's being, you know, something different, you know, the shenanigans type of thing where we're doing, you know, experimentation, or if we limit it to only fixing one laptop per stream and then do something else. I don't know. So anyway, y'all think about that. It's, you know, we're all in this together. So you didn't do the intro Firefighter laptop, just to let you know. Yes, I forgot to actually do an intro, and I just kind of do it for fun. But if I can somehow repurpose these videos into a long form, that would be nice. I just need to figure out how to do it. I know that Joey Does Tech, if you ever watch his channel, he repurposes his lives into his long form regular videos. So I don't know. I need to figure out if I can figure out how to do that. I probably need to take the chat off the screen, or have a separate stream going somewhere else that's recording somewhere else. But the shorter videos seem to be watched more. I don't know if there's, yeah, I mean, even an hour-long video, I still get plenty of views on it. That's not the issue. It's just like YouTube does not push out lives. Plus, a lot of people are turned off by like it not being live anymore. So, but I know a lot of people like to rewatch my live streams the next day or within a couple days, but then that's it. And then they basically, I should just hide them after that. But I don't know how many people go back and watch older live streams or not. So stream format is cool. I think it's cool usually when people are here, although, you know, rewatching a live stream still could be fun if you just put it on your TV and it's just on in the background, and you know. But if it's dry and quiet and nobody's talking, that's why I don't like lives whenever you see that type of thing where, you know, there's a lot of not much going on. Do what Soren does, which is basically just do coffee Sundays type of thing where we just do just chatting. He only does 1 hour though on that. I think it's too much editing in the streams to repost. There's always tons of editing in general, but if I edited out all the back and forth between the chat, and then I'm just like taking the meat of my conversation of what I'm doing, explaining things, it's a possibility that it's doable. I actually haven't edited down a live stream. Maybe I could do that. I'm just not recording it. It's basically just going straight to YouTube, and the YouTube is encoding it at 1080p. I usually record in 4K. So the encoding is not going to be as high anyway if I had to repost or re-edit. So I need to figure out a way of doing that. Windows 11 now sucks. I have watched older live streams. So some people have went back and watched some of my older live streams. What time do you have to make lives? Yeah. I mean, I don't have time really, but my lives are on Wednesdays and Sundays, so that's 8 hours a week right there. And then I'm at work about 50 hours already. And then I do Saturday morning, I do editing to post a video. And then on Tuesday, I usually do an edit for a video. And then I'm trying to, and then I work, you know, so I'm working 60 plus hours a week right now. For the last year, at least, a year and a half. And I'm pretty exhausted. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to make this sustainable. Also, yeah. You've also watched you a million times, so a lot of people watched the videos over and over again. Now, is there anybody in the stream right now who is not subscribed to me? That would be something interesting to check, because I find that's kind of strange that if you'd make it to the live stream and you're not subscribed. If you aren't, or just check to see, because I'd be surprised. Are you recording and streaming at the same time? I'm not, but I want to try it right now. Okay, I don't know if the whole thing's gonna lag or not. Let me see what my computer's doing right now. This would be a good test. I would actually like to do it at the end anyway. So but right now my GPU is running at this speed. Encoding. So encoding's using about 40%. Okay, so now I'm going to press record. Now I record in 4K 30, and then I sample down to 1080p 30 to send to Twitch and the YouTube. And YouTube actually takes this one format, and the other one takes this another format. So here I go. I'm going to press record and see if it starts lagging everything. Record. So let's see what this jumps up to now. So as long as we're under 100% on the GPU, I think we'll be okay. And so I may be able to record my lives and then use that as a re-edit, and then maybe have a separate output that doesn't have the chat on there, so then when I'm editing it up, it will actually look better. Yeah, that's actually holding pretty well. We're at 81%. Yeah, that could be good. Okay. All right, let's see how well that works. So let's look at my face here. My beautiful face, beautiful. Oh, I see choppy a little bit. Am I choppy? Hello, hello. Seemed like it stuttered for a second. Was it stuttery? Does it look okay now? An editor is what I need. So I do have a guy who does video editing for like the tutorials, and then he's been doing some editing to do like a first draft edit on my repairs. And then I have to still go back through and do a second edit because he's not super technical, doesn't know what the actual real thing is. And then I have to go do a second edit. And then I still have to do the thumbnails and titles and all that stuff. So to post a video, even if it's already been edited one time, to do the second draft and all that stuff. Like yesterday morning, I started at 8 a.m. and I got it posted by 12:30. So it took me 4.5 hours to get one edited. And that was about a 50-minute long video that was already edited down to 50 minutes, and then I edited it down to like 47 minutes. And then, yeah. Is this still a little choppy? It gets blurry when I move. Yeah, I mean, it's only 30 frames per second. The other option would be to put everything at 1080p 60 and not run this 4K stuff, but I don't know. I have everything at 4K because I like the higher resolution. I think it looks sharper. I'm warping through space and time. All right, I'm just gonna let this record while we're just hanging out, and then I can look at it later and see how bad it is. Yeah, maybe 1440p would be better. And just, My cameras only, they don't do 1440, so I'd have to do 1080 and upsample, or I do 4K 30 and then downsample. So I don't know. Beware of CPU utilization problems. Let's see what the CPU is doing. The CPU is looking good. It's the GPU that's sitting up here. The memory is at 19. But I'm also having to do double encoding too, because I realize now also. Yeah, see, whenever I switched views just now, it did that. Look at that. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. I can't record this at the same time. That's just not going to work. That's bad. That's no bueno. Yeah, we'll do everything at 360p. Yeah, I don't know. Here, I'm going to stop the recording. All right, see. The recording has been stopped. It's a little bit better. I think I need 2 GPUs. Yeah, I need a 5090 is what I need. I need more power. More power. Yeah, this is a 4060 Ti. I could probably just get a, like a 4080 or something, or 5070. Oh, everything's frustrating. Board view 4K, higher refresh rate. The rest is okay. Lower resolution. Yeah. You could live stream on a second PC that records it for you. The OBS can do that. Huh. Record it through a separate computer. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look into that. The TI, 5070 Ti is much better than the 5070. I'm not sure all that stuff costs so much money at this point. I hate spending money. I'm cheap. Cheap! Cheap! I know Windows, oh yeah, pages are killing SSDs. Yeah, I looked at my page file on my rendering or editing computer, 128 gig page file. What the I have 64 gigs of RAM in that thing, or 128. I have something crazy in that machine. And it has a 128 gig page file. Like, what are they doing? Oh, a page file is basically just a file that's on the SSD that acts as memory or RAM. But yeah, because of all the reading and writes, because you have finite reading and writes to SSDs, you end up ruining it. You run on a 4070 Ti 4K at 130 FPS. Is that for gaming though? So yeah, what I was going to say is, so my machine would record at HVEC or whatever it is, HENVEC, how do you say that? Whatever the H.265 encoding. So I do 4K 30, H.265 is what I record in. And then YouTube wants H.265 1080p 30, and then Twitch wants H.264 encoding, so I have to send that over there. So I'm re-encoding it to H.264, and I have H.265 going, and yeah, so there's a lot of encoding going on. NVEC. NVEC. Whatever. High efficiency video encoding. And then they have the NVIDIA version of it, right? Is that what it is? 2 terabyte used to be $112, exactly the same one's $199. Yeah, the NVEC one is going to be the NVIDIA's engine, and that's what I'm using. I have a 14700K CPU. So a RX 9700, or wait, 9070 XT is good for the wallet, so the pricing is good. I haven't used very many AMD GPUs. Yeah, 128 gigs is an insanely huge page file. Yeah, page files should only be used to double the RAM. You have a 1660 on a big rig. I have a 1660 Ti at home. That's what I still have. I don't need much. DDR5, 128 gig, 8,000 megahertz. Whoa, that's a lot of money right there. That's like $1,600 of RAM you got in your computer. 11700K with a 3080 Ti, not too shabby. What about using Linux? So Dave Unbranded, I just put a second SSD in here and loaded Linux on it. I wish I could boot into it right now to try to transfer everything to Linux. And there's just so many things, pieces of software I use that don't have a equivalent. That's what the problem is. And so, like, for instance, my, what do we call it here? The T4800 or T48, the XG Pro. The software is only in exe, and there's a workaround. People have got it to work in Linux, and I've tried. You have to replace a DLL and do all this stuff inside Wine and all that. I haven't even got that to work yet, but not to mention the Z Power or the Power Z, which is the USB meter. Those two things right off the bat, I could not get either one of those things working properly. And if I could get those working, and then I also have, those were the two main ones I think I was having issues with. But I installed it and already started messing with it, and I was like, I don't have time for this, you know. So for encoding, NVIDIA unfortunately is better than AMD. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I want an AMD system, but it looks like it's going to have to build one myself. What Linux did I use? I just did a Debian-based Linux. I did Zorin. Debian. It was like a 2404 base. Don't have a Linux counterpart. You still have an M17 XR4, so that's going to be the pre-17 series. So that's going to be like a second gen CPU, maybe a third gen Intel CPU. You can run exes in Linux. I know. So I installed the program. That's not the issue. So I've installed the program. It's running, but because these are all USB devices, when I'm trying to port that USB device to it, it doesn't make it there. It doesn't even see the device. So then there's like workarounds where you have to use different DLL files and then rewrite and edit these other files. And so I've gotten that. I spent, I don't know, an hour on it or whatever. I didn't want to spend too much time, and that was just to get the first program working. And so that's why I kind of threw up my hands, and I was like, because I know how to use Wine. I've installed, used Wine plenty of times. My mom is getting an Alienware, and I don't know if she's going to good for roadblocks, gaming, 3D modeling, possible game creation. I mean, an Alienware is good for all that stuff. Yeah, just don't get the highest end version of an Alienware. Get like the one below that. How do you integrate the multimeter into OBS? So I have my two multimeters, right? So I have my power box here off to the side, this one, and I just have a camera on it. And then my other one is the Z Power, which is this guy. And on the overhead, you can see him right here. And then there's a USB that goes to this program. And then this program right here has these three areas, and I basically just cut this part out, cut that part out, cut that part out, and I have it as three different areas on OBS. And then OBS, let me go back to OBS and go to power meter right here. And so I have each one of these as its own layer, like that. And then I created its own scene for that, and then I imported that scene onto any other scene that I want to put it on. If that makes sense. And then I have a button on my tablet here that toggles it on and off whenever I want it to come and go. You have two GPUs. Technically, the CPU is a Ryzen 7. You're using Bazite OS, which is pretty good. Now, I know Bazite's supposed to be good for like gaming and stuff, and I don't know. That's Archbase, right? You're still using your Ryzen. Oh wait, your AMD Radeon 7800 XT. That's, how many generations old is that? Is that like a, I don't know the equivalents on 7800. That seems like a 20 series equivalent. Was that at the same time that the NVIDIA 20 series were out? They hate Copilot so much. I want it off every single Windows PC. I think you can strip it out of all of them, right? Can't you? And there's some sort of like debloat tool or something that you can take it out of there. Linux is amazing. Fedora is my number one. And I've ran Linux at home since 2019 as my main OS. Right now I'm running Nabara, but I always ran Mint for years. Debian based, so I'm not a big fan of Plasma. I do like the Cinnamon desktop better, I think. KDE Plasma. How many scenes do you have? So I have a plethora of scenes. So if you look at my setup here, I have all these scenes here. And so these scenes are going to be like my recording scenes that I use for doing my videos, or these top ones. And then I create scenes usually for other things. So like I was using the IR6500 station. So I have this setup where I have like my camera on the bottom and there's other scenes. That's just my power meter. That's my face cam. That's just screencast. I forgot that if I'm pressing the button, you can't see it. But anyway, and then I have all my live stuff. So I put all my live stuff together as one long list here. And then that allows me to jump around. So. I just built my, wait, where did I go? What do you say? I just built my buddy a Core Ultra 265K with a 5080, 64 gigs of RAM for an editing rig. That's a beast. Copilot is pretty easy to get rid of. So Tony says that you can actually get rid of the Copilot. That sounds like a pretty good machine. Good job, Tony. Tony. Let's see. You could set up Bazite for gaming or just general purpose, but Steam is a popular on it. Yeah, because I think that's their Steam OS has really good integration on there. What else? It's not technically Steam OS on there, but I guess you can run all the Steam stuff on there very easily, and all the Wine stuff is already built in there very well. Copilot is apparently now considered a core integration part of the OS. They're saying and then you're saying it's easy to remove. I think it is. I mean, just like OneDrive, you can remove OneDrive. It's not, you don't click uninstall, you have to use a script that at least disables it in the background and makes it go away. I don't know. Nice organization, if I would say so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Is like I tried to back up my OBS to move over to the Linux, and it didn't take everything over. I thought I was like, what was the whole point of this backup and export and import? It was supposed to bring everything over. I'm getting a head out, guys. All right, well, Bondo, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. You could totally turn it off. Trust me. There's a trustmebro.exe. Yeah, you can get it at pornvirus.com. Use Chris Titus Tech Tool to remove Copilot. There you go. That's exactly what it was. So CTT, Chris Titus Tech, if y'all haven't seen him, he's another YouTuber. He has a open source community that is helping him develop this tool. It was a debug tool at first. Now it's a super powerful tool that he uses. It uses a PowerShell script that you just run, and it pops up and allows you to install a bunch of stuff. You can also disable stuff. You can disable Windows updates. There's all sorts of different things. It gives you back the old right-click menu. It gives you, I don't know, there's tons of stuff. It's a really cool script. So y'all check that out. So it's christitustech.com, I think, or CTT, something like that. Bazite mimics SteamOS. That's what it is. Okay, because it uses the Arch and the integrations that makes it easier to use EXEs. Now the Zorin OS, the Wine is really good. You can just install straight on there. Hey, Byte, thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. Thanks for the donation. I don't know why it didn't pop up on the screen for the donation. It's strange. I'll look into that. Cat sat on my chocolate bar and it melted. What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? Thanks for the stream. Well, thanks for everyone for coming. It's 12 o'clock. It's been a 4-hour stream. No, it's been a 3-hour stream. Oh, we only did, wow, it was so short today. Seems like it was longer. But I am going to probably cut out early today. I got tons of stuff to do this afternoon. And but I enjoy these hangout times at the end and the starting where we can kind of chat for a little while. Anybody else have one more question? Let's see. Too bad we saved two. The third one I couldn't save. And I'll look into messing around with that chipset. I mean, I've seen enough of those to have to, I don't know. It's definitely annoying. I don't know why it would have shorted out like that though. But I love photography and videography. Let's see, I wanted to see that one. And so your PC runs overnight rendering. Yes, I've seen that. And I used to do that with astronomy, as I'd have to run my PC overnight because it ran so long, because of processing all the pictures. But did I go to electronics school? I did not go to a school to learn any of this stuff. I did go to ITT Tech whenever I was 17 to 19 years old. Got some knowledge in basic electronics stuff, but that's all it was. And then I started this business when I was 21. And so all this stuff I just kind of learned is just by doing. That's all it is. But I've always been technical. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thanks for the mods. Thanks, Premise. Thanks, Dave. And we'll be back on next Wednesday. If you haven't liked the stream, like the stream. That way other people can find it. Let everyone know about these live streams. Tell your friends or whatever it is. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And thanks for watching.